I was stuck in a dead-end accounting job, working long hours on tasks I hated. Then I discovered FP&A, and everything changed. I started making more money, working on exciting projects that made my days fly by, and connecting with some really impressive people. And if you're like how I was, you may not even recognize how lucrative a career in FP&A can be. Or maybe you do, but you don't know how to break into the field and succeed. Well, after working with dozens of FP&A clients over the last several years, today I'm going to share my complete FP&A playbook with you so that you can take control of your career. Well, let's first start with the basics and discuss what is FP&A. Well, let me break it down for you in a way that I wish someone had explained it to me when I was first starting out. See, every company has financial data, most likely a lot of it, and you need to capture that data, categorize it, reconcile it, analyze it, and present it in a way that can drive insights so that you can make the best financial decisions at any given point in time. And the accounting team generally handles the preparation and reconciliation of this data, while FP&A analyzes it and builds upon it by projecting out what the future can look like and presenting it in a way to provide those insights. So let's break down the words financial planning and analysis. First, we have financial. So this involves your financial statements or the details behind your business model and how you make money, or what costs make up your business, really anything that has to do with money. And the planning side of FP&A allows you to take that data and to think about what the future could look like under a given set of assumptions. That's oftentimes done via a forecast or financial model, but the final part of FP&A is the most powerful, analysis. Because before you can really plan for the future with accurate assumptions, you need to get really good at analyzing data to back up those assumptions. So maybe you're sitting down with a CEO to understand the business model, or maybe you're meeting with the head of engineering to understand what features are coming out and how you'll be able to ramp up your sales with these new features. Or maybe you're analyzing vendor contracts with department heads so that you know what type of expenses you can expect in the future. Your goal here is to get really good at analyzing data and turning that data into meaningful information that can provide insights to the key stakeholders of the business so they can make the right decisions. And that's part of the reason why I love FP&A so much. You get to really understand so much about a business, whether that's the business model for how the company will continue to grow, or who they plan on hiring, or how much each person is making. You really get to see the full side of the business. But that's not the only reason. See, in order to learn all these things about a business, you'll oftentimes be meeting with some pretty important people in the company. That may be the CEO or management or the board of directors or even potential investors. And as you can imagine, with each person you meet, you get the chance to develop your network, which can remain with you for the rest of your career. But probably my favorite part of FP&A is the fact that you get the chance to engineer a story for what the future will look like. This is where you get the chance to build your financial storytelling skills and explain in layman's terms what's happening in the company and what the future could look like under a number of assumptions that you feel are accurate. So you're building your communication skills, your engineering skills, your understanding of business, your understanding of finance and accounting, all in one field. And it's no surprise that FP&A professionals are paid some of the highest salaries in finance and accounting. It almost feels illegal to have this much fun and get paid so well. But that's all, of course, if you're good at what you do. And before we talk about how to do your job really well in FP&A, let's talk about how you can even land a job in FP&A to begin with. And this is probably the most common question that I get. How do I break into FP&A? See, FP&A isn't really taught in school. Well, maybe you have a course on forecasting or data analysis or finance, but there's no comprehensive track or major called financial planning and analysis. Instead, it's a lot more common to major in an adjacent field. So a popular track is for someone who, let's say, majored in finance to work in an investment banking firm. And as part of their job, they'll be analyzing deals or putting together financial models to evaluate whether it's a good investment. And while that isn't quite FP&A, as FP&A is more operational, it's pretty close. So you may major in finance or get your CFA and find yourself working more and more in financial models. Or maybe you'll follow my track where you'll major in accounting. And what I love about this track is you get the full picture of things so that you not only get the chance to work on projections, but you also get the opportunity to learn how financial data is being prepared. And that's incredibly valuable because now you understand the intricacies of accrual accounting that will make your projections more aligned with reality. So majoring in accounting or getting your CPA can be a great way to break into FP&A. But I've also seen people with a general business degree or an MBA also build a successful career in FP&A, which makes sense. An MBA introduces you to finance and accounting. And if you're good at it, you can find yourself working in FP&A from there. But what you major in and what graduate degree you get is just one way that you can break into FP&A. If you're already working, let's say, in the accounting department, found out if there's an opportunity to start pitching in with the FP&A department. You may need to take on some additional hours at first, but if you can prove that you're a good fit for the role, you'll be able to add tons of values by understanding both sides of the same coin. In fact, that's how I broke into FP&A. I was working as a staff accountant and expressed a lot of interest in FP&A. I started off with just a few hours a month of assistance and eventually transitioned there full time. When I started my accounting firm, Mighty Digits, it was through a contract doing FP&A work that allowed me to earn enough to go solo. But if that isn't an option, you could always apply to FP&A positions. And if you don't have experience, this may be a little bit challenging to prove yourself. In fact, you'll most likely need to take a pay cut. And that makes sense. See, the company is going to invest a lot in training you. But if you can show them that you already have a strong foundation in FP&A, you can make yourself a lot more marketable. So let's take a minute to discuss how exactly you can build that foundation. The first step in succeeding in FP&A is developing the right financial foundation. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, first, understand close to everything there is to know about financial statements. Understand what they are and how they're connected and how they get produced. Most of the work you'll be doing in FP&A will be directly tied to financial statements and developing what's known as a three-statement model. And this is what a three-statement model looks like. We have the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. And here, watch what happens as I update information in my P&L. As you can see, my balance sheet and cash flows gets updated, and the same as I update my balance sheet. Now, not every job in FP&A involves three-statement modeling. It really depends on the company size. Some companies are so large that they can have several people in the FP&A department. Some who only focus on, let's say, the revenue forecast. But regardless of your organization, understanding how to build a three-statement model will reinforce your understanding of how financial statements are connected. And from there, you can focus on revenue forecasting and headcount forecasting, and then expense forecasting and balance sheet forecasting. All of that builds up to a comprehensive financial model. And most of the time, you'll be doing all of that in Excel. So get good at Excel, like really good at Excel. Get comfortable with everything you could do in Excel by playing around with the buttons in each ribbon, learn functions. There are really only 20 that you probably use, and maybe even 5 or 6 that you'll use majority of the time. And from there, you can get familiar with data structures and the difference between structured and unstructured data, why tables are so valuable, and how pivot tables can save you tons of time and effort, especially as you learn my favorite Excel tool, Power Query, which can transform your data and replace hours of repetitive tasks. But so far, we've only been talking about the hard skills. The soft skills are just as important. So oftentimes I'll be on a call with a CEO and he'll be sharing a brain dump of everything about his business. And it's up to me to take that information and know how to translate that into a forecast. And for you, you may be working with department heads to collect their budget, or maybe you're working with the accounting team to learn more about when the statements will be ready and how certain transactions were booked. But perhaps the most important stakeholders to work with is the board of directors and management. That's where you'll get the chance to sit in on key strategic meetings and present your findings to the people who make the biggest decisions. And this is so much fun. Here, instead of just reading off numbers, you get to practice your skills or financial storytelling. Here is where you could explain what happened in the business in a way in which anyone could understand, not just someone with a finance background. And you can explain how that differed from what you thought was going to happen and why it differed, and what actions you need to take to fix the business. Here, you get the opportunity to deliver the right insights to the people at the top, and you'll see the immediate impact of your findings. And that's so cool. And if you want to learn all of these key skills, well, you're in luck. Because I want to teach this to you in our new community, the Boardroom. We're gonna have monthly workshops around every area of FP&A to help you get the most out of your career. But instead of just learning from me, you'll get the chance to learn from other hungry professionals who are looking to level up in their career. Some who are right where you are, others who graduated to new levels who are ready to share their learnings with you. And if you sign up for our Pro plan, you'll get access to every one of my on-demand courses, along with every finance and accounting template through our Excel add-in, Model Wiz. You can join us right here via this link. And in the meanwhile, if you want to learn the 4 levels of forecasting, well, this video will teach you what you need to know. And I'll see you on the inside.